Trump tariff latest news. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said President Trump and Prime Minister Modi have very good relationships and the tariffs are not just over the Russian oil. Hours after US President Donald Trump's 50% tariffs on Indian goods came into effect on Wednesday, US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent talked about the bilateral ties and said they were complicated. However, he expressed confidence that the two countries would come together at the end of the day. This is a very complicated relationship. President Donald Trump or Prime Minister Narendra Modi have very good relationships at that level. And it's not just over the Russian oil, Bessent said in an interview with Fox Business. Saying that India is the world's largest democracy and the US is the world's largest economy, he said, "I think at the end of the day, we will come together." His comments came hours after the additional 25% tariff imposed by Trump on India for its purchases of Russian oil came into effect, bringing the total amount of levies imposed on New Delhi to 50%. On Monday, Prime Minister Modi asserted he can't compromise on the interests of farmers, cattle rearers, small-scale industries, cautioning pressure on us may increase, but we will bear it. Bessent said that he had thought the trade deal with India would be among the first ones that Washington would sign, but that has not happened. The Indians came in very early after Liberation Day to start negotiating on tariffs, and we still don't have a deal, he said, referring to April 2, 2025, when Trump had announced Washington would impose sweeping tariffs on nations around the world. Bessent added that he had thought that we would have a deal with India in May and June. "I thought India could be one of the earlier deals. And they kind of tapped us along in terms of the negotiations. And then there is also the aspect of the Russian crude purchases, which they've been profiteering on. So there are many levels going on here." Trump had announced reciprocal tariffs of 25% on India that came into effect on August 7, when tariffs on about 70 other nations also kicked in. On August 7, the US president announced doubling tariffs on Indian goods to 50% for India's purchases of Russian crude oil, but gave a 21-day window to negotiate an agreement. The additional 25% tariff was imposed by Trump on India for its purchases of Russian oil came into effect on Wednesday, bringing the total amount of levies imposed on New Delhi to 50%.